How to create a simple online business plan as a beginner. Now you could be thinking, okay, I want to start an online business, but where do I actually begin? Maybe you have an idea. Maybe you've even chosen the type of online business you want to build. You might have watched dozens of YouTube videos, saved a bunch of ideas, downloaded free guides, and maybe even purchased a few tools. But somehow you still don't feel like you're actually moving forward. One of the biggest problems beginners face isn't a lack of information, it's actually having too much information. There are so many things you're told you need to do. Build a website, start social media accounts, create an email list, make a product, start a YouTube channel, learn SEO, run ads, create a funnel, and before you know it, you're completely overwhelmed. So today I want to make things much simpler. We're going to talk about how to create a simple online business plan. And when I say simple, I really mean simple. You don't need a 30-page business plan, you don't need complicated spreadsheets, and you certainly don't need to have every detail figured out before you begin. You simply need to know where you're going, who you're trying to help, what you're going to offer, and what you're going to do next. By the end of this video, you'll have a much clearer picture of what your first steps should look like. So grab a notebook because I want you to actually work through this with me. Let's get started. Step 1. Know why you're starting. Before we talk about websites, products, social media, or money, I want you to start with something much more personal. Why do you want to build an online business? This might sound like an obvious question, but I think it's one of the most important questions you can ask yourself, because starting an online business takes time. There will be days when everything seems exciting, and there will also be days when you wonder if you're getting anywhere at all. That's why your reason matters. Maybe you want to create an additional source of income. Maybe you want more freedom. Maybe you just rather work from home. Maybe you want to leave a job you don't enjoy. Maybe you want to build something of your own. Or perhaps you're looking for a way to earn money while still having more time with your family. Whatever your reason is, write it down and don't worry about whether it sounds impressive. This isn't something you need to share on social media, it's for you. So ask yourself, what would having a successful online business change for me? That answer can become incredibly important when things get difficult, because when motivation disappears, your reason can help you keep going. Step 2. Decide who you want to help. Now let's move on to one of the most important parts of your plan. Who is your business for? This is where I see many beginners make things much harder than they need to be. They want to help everyone, and I completely understand why. You might think, if I try to reach more people, I'll have more customers. But usually the opposite happens. When you're trying to speak to everyone, your message becomes very general and people don't necessarily feel like you're talking directly to them. Instead, think about one specific type of person you want to help. For example, maybe you want to help busy parents prepare healthy meals. Maybe you want to help women over 50 start an online business. Maybe you want to help small business owners use social media. Maybe you want to teach people how to create handmade products and sell them online. Your audience doesn't have to be microscopic, but it should be specific enough that you understand their needs. This is where you should ask yourself, what problems are they dealing with? What are they worried about? What are they trying to accomplish? What questions are they asking? And most importantly, how can I help them? That's the foundation of your business. Step 3. Identify the problem you are solving. This brings us to the next part of your business plan. What problem are you solving? People don't usually buy something simply because a business exists. They buy because they want something to change. Maybe they want to save time. Maybe they want to make money. Maybe they want to feel healthier. Maybe they want to learn something. Maybe they want to solve a frustrating problem. Think about your own life. Have you ever searched online for an answer because something was bothering you? Maybe you wanted to know how to fix something. Maybe you needed advice. Maybe you wanted to learn how to do something. That's exactly what your potential customers are doing too. They're searching for solutions, and your business can become one of those solutions. So write this sentence down. I help blank solve blank. I help busy parents find simple ways to organize family meals. Or perhaps, I help beginners create their first online business without spending thousands of dollars. Doesn't have to be perfect. You're simply trying to clearly explain what you do, and if you can't explain what problem your business solves, it's worth stepping back and figuring that out before moving forward. Step 4. Choose your business model. Now we get to something we've already talked about in this series. Your business model. By this point, hopefully you have a better idea of which model suits you. Perhaps you're interested in affiliate marketing. Maybe you want to sell digital products. Maybe you want to offer services. Maybe you want to create an online course. Maybe you want to build a content-based business. Or perhaps you want to combine a couple of these over time, and that's perfectly fine. But here's something I really want you to remember. You don't have to build everything at once. In fact, I strongly recommend that you don't. Choose one primary business model to begin with. You can always expand later. If you try to create a blog, YouTube channel, podcast, online course, membership, digital product shop, and social media empire all at the same time, you're probably going to exhaust yourself before you make your first dollar. Start with one thing, get it working, learn from it, then grow. Step 5. Decide what you are going to offer. Now, next you want to consider what it is that you are going to sell or promote. This is where your business starts becoming real. If you're selling services, what service are you offering? If you're creating digital products, what product are you going to create? If you're doing affiliate marketing, what types of products will you recommend? If you're creating content, how will that content eventually lead to income? And remember, you don't need 10 products, you don't even need 5, you can simply start with one. In fact, one simple offer can teach you far more than creating 10 products that nobody wants. Let's say you've decided to create a digital product. Instead of creating a giant course with 50 lessons, perhaps you could start with a simple guide, checklist, template, or workbook that solves one specific problem. Make it useful, make it clear, and be sure that it actually helps the person you're trying to serve. Step 6. Figure out how people will find you. Now let's talk about traffic. Because even if you have an amazing product, people need to know that your business exists. This is where beginners sometimes become overwhelmed again. They hear that they need to be on Facebook, and Instagram, and TikTok, and Pinterest, and YouTube, and LinkedIn. And suddenly they're trying to create content for 6 different platforms every day. Please don't do this to yourself, you don't need to be everywhere. Choose 1 or 2 places where your audience is most likely to spend time. For example, if you enjoy making videos, YouTube might be a good fit. If you enjoy writing, perhaps a blog could be your main platform. If your audience spends a lot of time on Pinterest, that may be worth exploring. The key is to choose a traffic method that you can realistically maintain, because consistency is much more important than trying to be everywhere. When you think about where your audience may go to find answers, then that's where you want to focus your attention. Step 7. Create a simple content plan. Once you know where you're going to find your audience, you need something to share with them. This is where content comes in. Your content should help people, it should answer questions, solve problems, teach something, give people ideas, or simply make their lives a little easier. And here's a simple way to plan your content. Think about the 5 or 10 biggest questions your audience is asking. Then create content around those questions. For example, if your business helps beginners start an online business, your content might include: what is an online business? How much does it cost to start one? What are the easiest online businesses for beginners? What mistakes should beginners avoid? What tools do you actually need? How do you choose the right business model? Do you see what's happening? You're creating content around the things your audience already wants to know. That's much easier than sitting down and thinking, what on earth am I going to post today? And over time, those pieces of content can start bringing the right people into your business. Step 8. Set realistic goals. Now let's talk about goals. This is another area where I think beginners can put far too much pressure on themselves. You might see someone online saying they made $10,000 in their first month, and suddenly you think that's what you should be doing too. Please don't compare your beginning to someone else's middle. Your first goal doesn't have to be $10,000. Your first goal might simply be getting your website online, or publishing your first 10 pieces of content, or getting your first email subscriber, or making your first sale. Those are real accomplishments and they matter. Here's what I recommend. Create 3 types of goals. First, a learning goal. What do you need to learn? Second, an activity goal. What are you going to do consistently? And third, an income goal. What would you eventually like the business to earn? For example, my learning goal is to understand SEO. My activity goal is to publish 2 helpful articles every week. My income goal is to eventually earn $1,000 a month. That's much more realistic than simply saying, I want to be successful. Step 9. Create a 90-day plan. Now let's take everything we've talked about and turn it into something practical. I love the idea of working in 90-day blocks because 90 days is long enough to make meaningful progress, but at the same time, it's short enough that you can stay focused. For your first 30 days, focus on setting up the foundation. Choose your audience. Choose your business model. Define the problem you're solving. Set up your basic online presence. And start creating useful content. During days 31 to 60, focus on building. Create more content. Start building an email list if that fits your business. Create your first simple offer. Start learning what your audience responds to. Then during days 61 to 90, focus on improving. Look at what's working. Look at what's not working. Make adjustments. Improve your offer. Improve your content. And start paying attention to your numbers. You don't need to know exactly where you'll be in 12 months. You just need to know what you're going to work on over the next 90 days. Step 10. Decide what you will not do. Now here's something I don't hear talked about nearly enough. Your business plan should include the things you are not going to do. This might sound strange, but it's incredibly helpful. For example, maybe you're not going to spend $2,000 on courses. Maybe you're not going to buy every new piece of software. Maybe you're not going to start 5 social media accounts. Maybe you're not going to change your business idea every 2 weeks. Maybe you're not going to compare your progress to people who've been doing this for 5 years. These decisions can save you a lot of time, money, and frustration. Remember our previous video about the tools you actually need? This connects directly to that. You don't need to keep buying things just because someone tells you they're essential. Your business should grow because you're solving problems for people, not because you've collected the most software. Step 11. Expect your plan to change. Now, before we finish, there's something else I really want you to understand. Your first business plan is not written in stone. It will probably change, and that's okay. Actually, I would be surprised if it didn't. You might discover that your audience wants something different from what you expected. You might realize that you really enjoy one part of your business and don't enjoy another. You might discover a better way of doing something. You might change your offer. You might even change your business model. That doesn't mean you failed, it means you're learning. Think of your first business plan as a roadmap. A roadmap gives you direction, but sometimes there's construction on the road. Sometimes you take a wrong turn, and sometimes you discover a better route. You simply adjust. Your simple business plan. So let's quickly bring everything together. If you're sitting there with your notebook, I want you to write down these questions. Number 1. Why am I starting this business? Number 2. Who do I want to help? Number 3. What problem am I solving? Number 4. What business model am I using? Number 5. What am I going to offer? Number 6. How will people find me? Number 7. What type of content will I create? Number 8. What are my goals for the next 90 days? And number 9. What am I intentionally not going to do right now? That's your starting business plan. It really can be that simple. Don't wait until everything is perfect. I want to leave you with one final thought. You do not need to have everything figured out before you begin. I know how tempting it is to keep researching. I know, because there is always something else to learn. Another video, another course, another strategy, another tool, another person telling you that you've been doing it wrong. But eventually you have to stop preparing and start doing. Your first website won't be perfect. Your first video won't be perfect. Your first product probably won't be perfect. And your first business plan certainly won't be perfect. That's okay, because you're going to learn by doing, and that's something I wish more people understood when they first start an online business. You don't need confidence before you take the first step, because sometimes the confidence will come after you take that first step. So if you've been sitting on an idea because you're worried you're not ready, maybe today is the day to start. Start small. Keep it simple. Help one person. Solve one problem. Create one useful thing. Then do it again and again. That's how a business begins. So, if you've been wondering what you should actually do next after choosing your online business model, I hope this video has helped make things feel a little less overwhelming. You don't need a complicated business plan. You need a clear direction. Know who you're helping. Know what problem you're solving. Choose one business model. Create one useful offer. Choose where you're going to find your audience, and then give yourself the time and space to learn. Don't worry about building the perfect business. Focus on building a useful one, and remember, your online business doesn't have to become successful overnight. It just needs to keep moving forward one step at a time. If you found this video helpful, I'd love for you to subscribe to the channel because we're continuing this beginner online business series, and there are plenty more steps to come. And I'd also love to hear from you in the comments. What is the one thing you are going to focus on over the next 90 days? Is it creating your website? Finding your audience? Creating your first product? Starting your YouTube channel? Or maybe you're finally ready to make your first sale? Let me know in the comments. Sometimes simply writing your goal down can make it feel much more real. And don't forget, you don't have to know everything today. You just have to be willing to take the next step. I'll see you in the next video.